A local community resurfaces from a potentially deadly tragedy. The state government welcomes vital fire funds. The Prime Minister announces his new cabinet facelift. Controversial knights and dames dumped under bold new reforms. And national war commemorations continue in Hobart.
This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening. Tasmania's east coast has welcomed the arrival of a new rescue vessel to its waters after overcoming the tragic capsizing of its previous boat in January. The incident almost costing 3 marine volunteers their lives and leaving the bustling boating community at risk until now.
Champagne showers for the Georges Bay. The St Helens community celebrating the new marine rescue vessel cutting its first laps on the water after going 8 months without protection.
What we've done is used our own vessels, our private vessels, for assistance. We haven't been able to perform rescue.
And with predictions, the threat could be as devastating as 2013, when a perfect storm of fires wiped out hundreds of homes. Fireys say now is the time to plan.
A very cold and dry winter. Obviously spring has just sprung, so we don't know what's going to happen there. Like every summer, you don't know what it's going to be like until it arrives, and we're always prepared.
Caitlin Barry, Southern Cross News.
To politics, and it's been a day of change and shock in Canberra. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has made sweeping and historic changes to his cabinet and ministry, bringing 5 women into it. Only outer ministries for Tasmania. Senator Richard Colbeck, the biggest winner, elevated to Tourism and International Education Minister. Senator Eric Abetz out, expressing his disappointment on his Facebook page. Bass MHR Andrew Nikolich's future is uncertain. His role as whip to be voted on by the new cabinet.
Naming Team Turnbull. The Prime Minister leaves his Sydney home. Political
editor Mark Riley joins us now. Good evening, Mark. A lot of changes. What does this say about Malcolm Turnbull's new leadership?
Well, Rachel, the message here is you want to see a reshuffle? I'll show you a reshuffle. Malcolm Turnbull has sent an ageing generation of Howard government ministers out to pasture, and Joe Hockey has sent himself there. He's replaced them with young, enthusiastic but largely untested ministers whose ambitions were stifled under Tony Abbott. Broomed through the place and given the Australian people a new, fresh-looking government before voters forced that change at an election, Rachel.
Very interesting. Thank you for that, Mark. Stay with us. A bird researcher goes to stunning heights to study his flock. Also, Parcel Puzzle, the case of the snail mail that's shown up 4 decades late, and some Launceston locals on the move before a major city makeover. Welcome back. Some Launceston locals of a different kind were on the move today. 4 of the large Japanese flowering cherry trees being removed after sitting in the Quadrant Mall, some for up to 4 decades. The council pulling up the trees before they wake up after winter hibernation, with the popular city space about to undergo a major makeover.
Just for its 50th anniversary celebrations.
Perhaps we might do some retro shirts as what the players would have worn then in the 70s or something like that.
Rick Fontayn will join us with the day's sport news later in the bulletin. With a massive upset in the soccer NPL overnight in Melbourne. The rising sun, another historic upset in the Rugby World Cup. And celebrations and commiserations continue following yesterday's TSL nail-biter. Those stories shortly, but first, after the break, a recap of the day's headlines. Also, a terminally ill boy gets the surprise of his life from a bunch of bikies. That amazing story is coming up. And a local community proves it's no cheapskate as it aims high with a multi-million-dollar makeover. You're watching Southern Cross News, and these are some of the stories making headlines tonight. A local community resurfaces from a potentially deadly tragedy. The state government welcomes vital fire funds. The Prime Minister announces his new cabinet facelift. And National War commemorations continue in Hobart. Clarence City Council is proving no cheapskate, accepting a tender of $1.14 million for the construction of a skate park in Kangaroo Bay. The park will form the centrepiece of the Rosny and Bellreeve waterfront facelift. The council has big plans for the site upon completion in February next year, suggesting the state-of-the-art facility could play host to national skateboarding competitions in the future. Well, Sunday Sport is now with Rick Fontayn. And Rick, all roads are leading to Perth in an exciting AFL final series.
Yeah, they sure do, Rach. An impressive Kangaroos outfit. They're now going to join the Hawks to try and stop the first ever All-West Australian Grand Final. Also tonight, the celebrations and commiserations continue after yesterday's nail-biting TSL Grand Final, and the underdog bites back, the unexpected locals who took some of the nation's best by storm. Good evening, everyone. The celebrations have continued for the Northern Bombers 24 hours after claiming the 2015 State League Premiership in incredible fashion. A joyous Bombers outfit getting up close and personal with the spoils of victory, and their coach isn't ruling out a 2016 three-peat.
The morning after, the night before, North Launceston still on cloud nine after claiming stunning back-to-back State League flags, their first in 64 years. The 2015 Cup taking pride of place at Aurora Stadium. Cornelius says his Chargers will embrace yesterday's shock 12-point loss and use it to reload for 2016.
Just take it all in and realise what we achieved during the year and make sure that you remember this feeling and use it for the rest of your football career.
Chris Rowbottom, Southern Cross News.
North Melbourne is banking on Drew Petrie and Robbie Tarrant to both be available for Saturday night's preliminary final against the Eagles in Perth. Petrie landed awkwardly on his knee, while Tarrant was injured in the warm-up of last night's memorable win over Sydney.
The Flying Kangaroos will be spending plenty of time at airports over the next week, but after winning the club's first ever final interstate, travelling doesn't bother them one bit.
We're happy to having one on the road, which we're going to have to do again this week.
Kaplan's 50-metre roost was right on target as he and his footy club Ajax picked up a new Volkswagen. Yeah, a lot of excited sports people today, Rach.
Handy kick. Thanks for that, Rick. Well, tomorrow's weather forecast is coming up next with Ken Saville.
Good evening. Well, cloud increased across the state today, but the forecast showers didn't prevail. Temps, though, up to 6 degrees above the average. Hobart, 20 degrees, 18 for Launceston, 15 for Burnie and Devonport. 21 was the state's top recorded at Ouse, Campania, Bushy Park and the Hobart Airport. 20 today at Grove and on Flinders Island. 19 at Fingal, Medina and the Friendly Beaches. 16 at Bridport and Scottsdale, with 17 at Strawn, St Helens and on King Island. Now, the infrared satellite sequence shows a cloud band moving across the bight there towards Tasmania's west. There is a bit of low cloud there through Australia's east coast. The close-up sees cloud about much of the state, especially through the north and west. Now, tomorrow's chart sees the high in the Tasman remaining stable with that cold front and low there off our west coast. Coastal waters and winds at north-northwesterly at 10 to 20 knots at first, lighter in the north, reaching 30 knots later in the day, and they're going to be southwesterlies and should sweep across the state. Swells, though, 3 metres in the west and south. A strong wind warning is current for all Tasmanian coastal waters, with the exception of the upper east. Looks like showers in the south tomorrow. Hobart 17, Dover 15, Ouse 16 degrees. Showers clearing in Launceston 17, Devonport and Scottsdale 15 degrees. Showers easing in Burnie 15 degrees. Showers in Strawn and Stanley 14 degrees. A possible shower in St Helens 18, showers in Swansea 19, Ross 16 degrees. As we look to Tuesday, showers for most centres, just a little cloudy there in the north of the state. A few showers hanging around on Wednesday, with a similar forecast coming up for us there on Thursday. Looks like a beautiful day in Perth tomorrow, a sunny day, 23 degrees. A few showers in Melbourne, 17, and a lovely day up in Sydney, 24 degrees. And currently partly cloudy around the place, 13 for Hobart and Launceston, 11 degrees there in Devonport. Oh, a few showers about for the start of the week there, Rach.
Okay, good for the garden. Thanks for that, Ken. Well, that's your news for this Sunday, the 20th of September. Thanks for your company. I'm Rachel Williams. Good night.